Why is ring culture so much more prevalent in the NBA than in other sports?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport and why it's the A-all, B-all of everything.
But you have to really play hard. Does that hurt you physically?
No, because when I play hard all the time. You know, there's no turn it on here, turn it off here. It's just 110% at all times.
Yeah, I'm 10, 12 years in, I got 4 MVPs and 4 championships. Like, but do I still want to do this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Because you know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
Right?
Yeah. And then I want to come back. Or some people say, I'm going to go 22 straight.
Coward. You know, it's all about winning championships and winning.
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
You know, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy way up on top who probably worked his ass off to get a ticket or to get money to buy the ticket.
You really cared about the guy who sat in the top deck at the Palace in Auburn Hills to watch you when you came to Detroit?
Yeah, because I know he's probably yelling at me and I want to shut him up. So if the guys are coming to watch me play, I don't want to miss that opportunity. Now, physically, if I can't do it, then I can't do it. But physically, if I can do it and I just don't feel like doing it, that's a whole different lens.
It might not be in the team's best interest, in your best interest, to play all 82. Is that something you've thought about at all since you made the goal?
That's a goal, but yeah, we'll see.
The next day.
I'm available to go and be in the pro. If OBJ shows up, he might score 100.
If you're going to make $50, $60 million a year and just say, hey, you know what? I'm only going to play 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4. At some point, the fan going to be saying, wait a minute, you're charging me this much for tickets. Why in the world should I care if they don't?
LeBron and KD and Steve Nash did their little podcast thing, and they always drag the legacy of Michael Jordan.
What is it called? Was it Cry Me a River?
Cry Me a River. I think
Cry Me a River podcast? Oh, my God. I tell you what, man, listen. I was watching
Revisionist history, they should call it.
Yeah, you know what, Mark? Great players don't have to tell people they're great.
Yeah. That's true.
You let fans do that. You let people debate it on talk radio and podcasts. You know, players don't have to do that. You know, we all know you're great. You don't have to tell us. You know, when you have to go around trumpeting that you're great and what separates you from all the other people that makes you greater than them, that's a problem. You know, that's a problem. That's why I say it's a Cry Me a River podcast, because you're crying and moaning about what they said. And they were kind of sneak dissing MJ. If you really listen between the lines, you know, they were talking about, Kevin Durant was talking about how longevity is more important than rings and all that other stuff. Being in the league basically for 20 plus years shows the dedication and the hard work that you had to do to stay here. But he failed to mention, you know, the load management and this guy only playing in no more than 3 times in his career, you know, 82 games in a season.
Yeah, right.
LeBron's only played 1 time 82 games in a season. MJ 9 times in his career played 82 games, plus playoffs and championships. It goes into 115 games. So to listen to these guys discredit the former players and how great they were to you know, basically step on top of them to get themselves higher is really sad.
NBA legends have officially reached the point where staying quiet is no longer an option. Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, and several former teammates of Michael Jordan are finally voicing what they've held back for years, and their message toward LeBron James and Kevin Durant isn't too gentle. For more than a decade, these icons watched the league drift into an era where branding mattered more than competition, and where players freely dismissed the foundation that made the sport what it is. They saw the disrespect build, saw the competitive edge fade, and watched modern stars joke their way through conversations that used to define greatness. Still, the legends rarely stepped in, until Durant and LeBron crossed a line they couldn't erase. When the two sat on a podcast laughing at Michael Jordan's legacy, treating the greatest career in basketball history as a casual punchline, that was the breaking point. The reaction wasn't mild frustration, it was an eruption. To these legends, this wasn't humor. It was the clearest sign yet of how detached today as stars have become from the game as history. Stacey King, who won 3 championships alongside Jordan, was one of the first to fire back. He recognized exactly what that moment revealed. So instead of brushing it off, he dismantled the entire tone of the podcast, even mocking LeBron's show as the Cry Me a River podcast while calling out both stars for constantly needing to remind the public how great they.
To have a long career, that's the goal. to be in the league for 20 years. I tell you, that's the goal.
Garvis Gilmore told me one time, he played for Chicago, he said, if you expect to play a long time in this league, you better quit mopping up the floor. And I thought, well, he's crazy because that's what basketball is all about.
Bird takes it away from Wilkins, goes to the floor and gets it. Gets it up ahead.
This rest stuff just drives me crazy. You're playing basketball for a living, okay? I understand if you're working in a coal mine that you may need a rest day after it. You're playing basketball.
Stacey King hit a nerve when he said the one thing modern stars never want to hear. Truly great players don't have to announce their greatness. You don't beg people to recognize you. You let the fans decide. You let debates happen naturally on talk shows, barbershops, and podcasts. The moment a player starts listing off reasons they're better than everyone else, that's when you know something's off. And he's right. Michael Jordan never needed a podcast to convince anyone of anything. He never sat around comparing himself to past or future players. When you're genuinely legendary, your game handles that conversation for you. Your rings handle it. Your legacy handles it louder than anything you could ever say behind a microphone. But King wasn't finished. He called Durant and LeBron out directly. He said that's why he renamed their show the Cry Me a River podcast, because all he heard was whining about criticism. That to him revealed everything. He said Durant and LeBron are so rattled by conversations about their legacies that they end up taking petty shots at Jordan just to make themselves feel validated. They're trying to sell fans on the idea that longevity beats dominance. That surviving 20 years somehow outweighs 6 championships. That load management is more admirable than showing up hurt, bruised, battered, and still playing every single night.
What's happened to the rivalries in today's game? Like, I mean,
they don't hate each other.
That's
they don't like. See, I hated Larry and every Celtic. I really don't like you, but you're my little brother. Now I love you because you out of that green and white. That's what it was, right? You the Celtics, Lakers hate each other, disliked each other. So it made for great TV and people tuning in. And now with, I don't know if it's AAU, I don't know what it is. Now everybody's shaking each other's hand. Everybody like each other, won't go at each other like really hard. Even that's what happened to the All-Star game, see?
Yeah.
See, the All-Star
carried into the All-Star game. Right there.
See, we hated the East.
Right.
I'm coming to bust you.
Right.
Michael, Isaiah, Dr. J. You can't have one over me. See, I'm coming to get that. Now, okay,
see, Magic, this is what
let them score 200 to 200. What is that?
Stacey King exposed the biggest hypocrisy in the entire debate. Durant sat on that podcast preaching about how longevity matters more than winning. How playing 20-plus years supposedly proves dedication, discipline, and superior work ethic. But there's one detail he conveniently left out. In his entire career, Kevin Durant has played all 82 games only 3 times, 3 full seasons across nearly 2 decades. And LeBron? He's done it once. One time in more than 20 years. These are the same guys lecturing fans about commitment while missing games constantly, not because of career-ending injuries, but because they simply chose not to play. King wasn't letting that slide, and he didn't stop there. He went directly at Durant's postseason resume. Ever since he walked away from Golden State, every attempt to lead his own team has collapsed. Brooklyn was supposed to be the moment he showed he could win without Steph Curry. Instead, it turned into disappointment, injuries, drama, and a trade request. Phoenix was presented as a fresh start, another super team, another chance. That also ended in failure, followed by another exit. King said exactly what many fans have been thinking. Durant hasn't proved he can win when he's the unquestioned #1 option. All that talent, all those expectations, and nothing to show for it outside of the Warriors system. But instead of addressing that, the conversation shifts to criticizing Michael Jordan. Then Magic Johnson stepped in, and Magic rarely goes negative. He tries to connect eras, highlight the good in every generation, and avoid stirring conflict. But even he had a breaking point. What Durant and LeBron did on that podcast confirmed everything Magic has warned about. The loss of real competition, the friendly culture replacing rivalry, and the obsession with image over domination. Magic explained why his era was different. When the Lakers faced the Celtics, it wasn't friendly. It was personal. He and Larry Bird despised each other during the season, and that hatred fueled greatness. Fans felt it. The entire country stopped to watch because every game carried emotional weight. As Magic said, he hated every Celtic, until Bird retired and left those colors behind.
get a guy making 75, 80, 90, God forbid, $100 million a year to play basketball. And the guy says, I'm going to rest tonight. At some point, the fans going to be saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, I've had enough. If this dude don't care about me, and that's the one thing concerns me going forward. Man, we're the luckiest dudes in the world to play basketball. We're the luckiest dudes in the world. If you look at sports landscape, nobody get paid better than basketball players. Nobody.
Kevin's a great player. I think that his legacy is complicated. I don't like any guys who join super teams. I'm biased against LeBron when it comes to comparing him to Michael, joining Dwayne and those guys. Because, when we have this debate, and LeBron's amazing and spectacular, but I was like, Michael didn't join anybody. He just kept getting his ass kicked and got bigger and got stronger and finally knocked the wall down. And, Kevin, who's a great player, other than the fact when he joined the Warriors, he hasn't been successful anywhere else. And I don't hold that against him, but he wants to be considered in that list. He's not on that list. He's a great, great player, but he's not on that list. He wants to be like, wow, he's not in the GOAT conversation, because you're not, plain and simple.
Damn.
You had great success when you joined the Warriors, but not only did you not have success, you actually flamed out in those other places. You got swept last year in the playoffs. You didn't even make the play-in this year.
Before the ball even goes up, you see players hugging, laughing, and posing for photos. Everyone follows each other on social media. They take group vacations, attend each other's parties, and run business deals together. The rivalries are gone. The tension is gone. The competitive hate that built the league has completely evaporated. So when Durant and LeBron sit on a podcast giggling about Michael Jordan's retirement, it proves exactly what Magic Johnson has been warning about. These stars don't carry the edge past legends lived on. They don't have that internal fire to dominate. Instead, they're more invested in their media brands, their shows, their off-court empires, everything except the game itself. Magic didn't stop there. He connected this attitude directly to the NBA as ratings decline. He said it clearly, fans are tired of watching players who don't seem to care. Fans know when competition is real. They know when players are coasting. And they're tuning out because the product feels empty. Why invest your time, your money, your emotion when the athletes themselves seem far less invested? That's why fans are flipping the channel and walking away. Then Charles Barkley stepped in, and he wasn't holding anything back. Barkley never minces words, but this time he went even harder because he sees something deeper at stake. To him, Durant and LeBron-esque comments symbolize the shift that dragging the NBA downward. Players care more about image than greatness, more about popularity than competition, more about endorsements than championships. Barkley said it point blank, if a player makes $56 million a year and still decides to play only 2 out of every 3 games, fans are eventually going to snap. They'll look at the price of tickets, $200, $300, even $500, and ask, why should I care if you don't? And he's right. Fans plan their nights around these games. They buy jerseys, snacks, parking, and bring their families all to see their favorite stars, and then those stars sit out because they're resting. Or because they don't feel right today. It's disrespect. It's dismissive. And to the average fan, it's a straight-up slap in the face. Charles Barkley laid out the part nobody in today's NBA wants to hear. He said flat out that NBA players are the highest-paid athletes in American sports, and yet they complain the most. The average NBA salary is around $10 million. Most teams have 5, 6, sometimes 7 players earning over $20 to $25 million a year. Meanwhile, in baseball, only a handful of guys on an entire roster crack that tier. And despite making the most money, NBA players do the least work. They play 82 games, not 162. They play 3 or 4 nights a week, not 6 or 7. And still, they're the ones demanding rest days, minute restrictions, and load management programs. Barkley tied this directly to Durant and LeBron's behavior. To him, they symbolize a generation that thinks longevity equals greatness. That surviving 2 decades while switching teams constantly and sitting out games somehow makes them superior to players who actually dominated every season they played. Barkley didn't sugarcoat it, calling 20 years of load management better than Michael Jordan, as 13 years of pure dominance is backwards, disrespectful, and exactly why fans are disconnecting from the modern NBA. Then Shaquille O'Neal entered the conversation with a different angle, and his focus was toughness, or the complete lack of it today. Shaq can't stand watching modern stars avoid the paint, avoid contact, and settle for step-back threes. He said Durant and LeBron are perfect examples of this shift. Instead of imposing their size, they drift to the perimeter. Instead of attacking the rim, they hunt highlight shots. Shaq said that if he had a talented big man in the post, you couldn't convince him that wasn't a high-percentage shot. But today, the league is full of players who are tall enough to dominate yet too afraid of contact to establish position. That mindset, he says, is one of the biggest problems in modern basketball. Then Shaq attacked the modern obsession with analytics. He said numbers don't matter in the playoffs. When the stakes rise, adrenaline takes over, willpower takes over, heart takes over. Toughness becomes everything. That's what creates real champions, not players who skate through regular season games padding stats and avoiding pressure. Michael Jordan had that will. He played through pain that would shut down today's stars for weeks. He took contact every night, battled every night, and kept coming back stronger. Shaq made it clear that's greatness. Durant and LeBron. They're the opposite in his eyes. Durant is 7 feet tall, but refuses to play like it. He won't seal defenders in the post. He won't use his size. He just floats to the three-point line, taking jumpers like a guard, choosing finesse when the moment calls for force. LeBron James has every physical tool a player could ever ask for, yet he has never been the guy who steps up and guards the toughest assignment every single night. He picks when to defend, he saves energy, he manages his workload. That's not championship DNA, that's survival DNA, and there's a massive difference. Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, both Hall of Famers, both champions, join the criticism with a different angle: conditioning. To them, today's stars aren't actually in shape, and the evidence supports it. Garnett said modern players think they re-in shape until they talk to players who truly were in elite condition. He explained that in his era, teams practiced daily at full speed. Full contact scrimmages, real physicality, hours of work. That's how players built the stamina to handle all 82 games plus long postseason runs. Today's players don't come close. They do 30 minutes of trainer-led drills, maybe an hour of light work, and then they step into a real NBA game at playoff-level speed. It's no surprise their bodies break down. Garnett got specific, pointing out that basics like calf work, the muscles responsible for acceleration, deceleration, and explosive movement, are ignored. He said today's players skip the fundamentals, skip the boring but necessary conditioning, and then wonder why they're injured. Pierce agreed completely, saying players from their era routinely played through injuries that would sideline modern stars for weeks. Then came the hypocrisy that Garnett and Pierce couldn't ignore. Durant and LeBron sat on that podcast celebrating longevity, calling it a sign of greatness. But Durant has played all 82 games only 3 times. LeBron has done it once in more than 2 decades. Compare that to Michael Jordan, who repeatedly played full seasons, who logged massive minutes, who played hurt, who laced up every night because he respected both the game and the fans. The numbers expose everything. And this is where NBA legends completely dismantled Durant and LeBron's argument. Between them, Kevin Durant and LeBron James have played 39 total seasons, nearly 3 times Michael Jordan's actual time on the court. Almost 4 decades of combined basketball, and the resume looks thin next to Jordan's. 6 championships, 5 regular season MVPs, 6 finals MVPs, 5 scoring titles, 5 all-defensive selections. That's the combined output of nearly 40 seasons. Now look at Jordan, 13 full seasons, 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, 10 scoring titles, 9 first-team all-defense selections. In roughly 1/3 the time, Jordan surpassed Durant and LeBron in almost every single category that defines greatness. He didn't stretch his career into a 20-year timeline. He didn't hop teams chasing support. He didn't take rest nights or hold back to extend his career. He dominated from beginning to end, and the results show it. This is why legends see Durant and LeBron's comments as empty. They talk about longevity because it's the one metric they can win. They talk about showing up for 20 years because the stats, awards, defensive accolades, and championships can't compete. Jordan built a resume in 13 seasons that modern stars couldn't match in 4 decades combined. And that's the difference the legends refuse to let slide. Those aren't opinions. Those aren't emotional takes. Those are straight, undeniable facts. Nearly double the career time, barely half the production. That's the difference between longevity and actual greatness. And here's what makes Durant and LeBron's podcast comments even worse. They mocked Michael Jordan for retiring to play baseball without mentioning why he left the game in the first place. Michael Jordan didn't walk away in 1993 because he was bored. He didn't leave because the league was too easy. He wasn't escaping competition. Jordan stepped away because his father, James Jordan, was murdered. Shot and killed in a robbery, his body dumped on the side of the road. The man who believed in him before anyone else, the man who pushed him to become the greatest player alive, gone. Jordan wasn't running from basketball. He was grieving, he was shattered, and he wanted to honor his father by chasing the dream they talked about together, playing professional baseball. So when Durant tosses out a slick comment like, "Some people go play baseball with a smirk and LeBron laughs along," that's not insight, it's disrespect. They're reducing one of the most traumatic moments in Jordan's life to a joke. And NBA legends refuse to let that slide because they understand context. They understand sacrifice. They know what real greatness costs. And look at when Jordan retired. Was it after a first-round exit? After getting swept? After a disappointing playoff run? Not even close. Jordan retired after a three-peat. 3 championships in a row. Something Magic never did. Something Bird never did. Something LeBron James has never done. And he did it while dealing with a level of emotional pain that would break most people. Now here's the supreme irony. Who is mocking him? Kevin Durant, a player known league-wide for one of the weakest decisions in NBA history. After blowing a 3-1 lead to the Golden State Warriors in 2016, Durant didn't reload and run it back. He didn't take the challenge head-on. He joined the same 73-win team that beat him, a team that already had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, a team that didn't need him and only made the league less competitive with him. That's the guy smirking at Jordan's baseball decision. That's the guy taking shots at a man who walked away at the peak of his dominance for reasons deeper and more human than Durant has ever shown. And this is exactly why legends weren't having it. Because they lived the era where greatness was earned through adversity, through pressure, through pain, not through jokes on a podcast. They know Michael Jordan wasn't quitting. He was grieving. And in spite of that, he still returned and dominated the league again. Durant and LeBron, they have longevity. Jordan had greatness, and greatness doesn't need a microphone. It needs results, something the legends made painfully clear. Kevin Durant didn't join Golden State because he wanted a challenge. He joined them because he wanted the easiest championships imaginable. He didn't want the pressure of leading a team on his shoulders. He didn't want the expectations that come with being the guy. He wanted a guaranteed shortcut to rings. And it didn't end when he left the Warriors. After failing in Brooklyn, Durant bailed again. A super team built around him collapsed under the weight of expectations, and instead of fighting through it, he demanded a trade. Then came Phoenix, another stacked roster, another opportunity, another quick exit. He couldn't even last 3 full seasons before demanding out. This is the man calling Michael Jordan a quitter. A player who has jumped from team to team looking for the smoothest path to a championship every single time. Then there's LeBron James. When things became difficult in Cleveland the first time, he took his talents to South Beach. When Miami began declining, he ran back to Cleveland. When Cleveland became uncomfortable after Kyrie left, he bolted to Los Angeles. Every era of adversity came with the same response: find a new team. So when these two mock Michael Jordan, a man who stepped away only after winning 3 straight championships, and losing his father, NBA legends knew exactly what they were witnessing: total lack of awareness and total lack of respect. To the legends, this wasn't about one joke or one podcast. This was about a cultural shift in the modern NBA. A shift where players show no respect for the history that built the league, no appreciation for the sacrifice that came before them, and no gratitude toward the icons who made the NBA financially possible for today's stars. Magic Johnson explained the difference perfectly. His generation earned everything. They proved themselves first. The endorsements came second. The massive contracts came after they had already shown greatness. Now, players enter the league with max contracts before proving anything. They get shoe deals as rookies. They get media platforms, podcasts, brand sponsorships, global attention, long before they've actually accomplished a thing. And it breeds a mindset where players think they are legends before they've earned anything at all. Durant and LeBron are the perfect embodiment of this entitled era. They became rich first, famous first, global icons first, and then figured out the basketball part later. That's why they need podcasts to convince people of their greatness. That's why they constantly feel the need to compare themselves to Michael Jordan. Because deep down, they know the truth. Longevity isn't greatness. Playing 20 years while switching teams and load managing isn't dominance. Jordan proved everything in 13 seasons. Durant and LeBron spent nearly double that time trying to catch him, and still came up short.
Like you mentioned a little bit about today's game, because we had Clever on here, and He talked about load management. He said, I don't know what the hell that is. Where is it going? And that's number one. And number two, how do we get it back?
Even for me, I love the NBA game, but then I turn on to a game, right? And then the stars are not playing because of load management. It's hurting the game.
Durant and LeBron's narrative isn't just wrong. It's damaging the gamager, That's why they're trying so hard to shift the conversation, turning longevity into the new standard instead of championships, MVPs, dominance, and impact. But NBA legends aren't letting that revisionist history slide. They know exactly what Michael Jordan understood, something Durant and LeBron never will. Jordan never chased longevity. He chased perfection every single year he touched the court. His mission was simple: maximize himself, maximize his team, dominate on both ends, and leave everything on the floor every night. If that meant a shorter career, he accepted it. Jordan said it himself. If he burned out, and he'd go play golf. He wasn't worried about playing 20 years or padding totals. He was worried about being the best, about winning, about building a legacy on greatness, not survival. And that mentality is exactly why his legacy remains untouchable. It's why the NBA brought him back, not LeBron, when they wanted to fix the culture of the league. It's why his name still carries more weight than anyone active today, even though he's been retired for over 2 decades. Jordan's silence alone is the loudest answer to Durant and LeBron's disrespect. He doesn't need a podcast to protect his legacy, doesn't need to compare himself to other players, and doesn't need to convince anyone of anything. When you're truly the greatest, your resume speaks for you. 6 championships, a flawless finals record, 10 scoring titles, 5 MVS, 9 all-defensive first-team selections, and the most dominant peak in basketball history, all achieved in a way that leaves their comments irrelevant before they finish speaking. That's the message the legends are sending. You don't get to rewrite history because it makes you uncomfortable. You don't get to mock the pain and sacrifice of the greatest player who ever lived just because you insecure about your own resume. Longevity isn't greatness. Hanging around isn't dominance. And if you don't respect the game and the legends who built it, you'll get exposed exactly the way Durant and LeBron are getting exposed right now. Social media exploded the moment NBA legends started speaking out, and fans didn't hold anything back. One viral post summed the whole situation up perfectly. Some people lose their father to a murder and choose to honor him by playing the sport they once dreamed of together. And others join a 73-win super team, get exposed for burner accounts, bounce from roster to roster, never lead a team to real success again, and then claim the goal is simply to play forever, not to actually win. Another fan said it even clearer. Jordan stepped away in the middle of a three-peat, returned, and immediately dominated the league again. Durant and LeBron can't even approach that level of accomplishment, let alone compare themselves to it. Durant tried clapping back online by posting, "I'll say MJ retired twice every day for the rest of my life. What you gonna do about it?" But it only made the backlash worse. Every time he brings it up, fans remind him of everything he ignores. The murder of James Jordan, the grief, the three-peat, the context, the sacrifice. And they remind him of his own resume, the team hopping, the inability to win without Steph Curry, the load management, the constant defensiveness. The hypocrisy becomes clear every time he opens his mouth. This is exactly what happens when you take cheap shots at greatness. The moment you try to tear down the legends who built the league just to elevate yourself, it backfires. It exposes your insecurity. It shows the entire world that deep down you know you're not on that level, so you try dragging them down to yours. Michael Jordan never did that. Kobe Bryant never did that. They respected the players who came before them. They honored the game's history. They built their legacies on dominance, on winning, on showing up every night, not on gossiping in studios about who quit and who didn't tee. NBA legends delivered a message that every modern player needed to hear. Respect the history, respect the sacrifice, respect the game, or get exposed for pretending to be something you're not. Because greatness recognizes greatness, and when you're not great, everybody in the arena sees it. Longevity won't hide it. Podcasts won't rewrite it. Load management won't justify it. You either dominate or you don't. You either win or you don't. You either show up every night or you don't. And right now, Durant and LeBron just got exposed for failing to meet the standard Michael Jordan set. If you think the legends were right to call out this disrespect, hit that like button. If you're tired of modern players trying to rewrite history, drop a comment below. And if you want more truth about what's really going on in the NBA, make sure you subscribe, because this conversation is nowhere near over.